Koun Ryushi, Ryushui. Clouds float freely through the sky without any conscious intention of going here or going there. Water flows ceaselessly, effortlessly, finding a way around all obstacles. A mind without attachment moves like this. Free and unrestricted, it responds serenely in accordance with the providence of nature. Like a cloud or a stream, I leisurely go. To quit putting up a front and just relax, going with the flow as circumstances dictate, is the very essence of a free and open life. No matter what life brings us, whether good or bad, let's not look back, but move ahead with whatever presents itself. So those words mean drifting clouds, flowing water. So today I invite you, body, mind, spirit, to be like drifting clouds and flowing water. Let's tune into our breath. And as you settle onto your seat, feel into your sit bones and invite the roots to grow out in a circle around you. Feel into where your legs or your feet touch the floor and invite the circle of roots to grow down towards the water in the soil. Drink that earth energy up through your body. And then feel into the circumference of your torso. And invite the earth energy of the plant and animal life all around you into the pores of your skin. Let it flow and drift in, an ever-present part of you. Invite in the images of the plants in your yard, in your home, the hummingbirds, the animals, the sunlight and the shadow. Let them drift in. And then opening your crown, invite in the sky and its sunlight, the drifting clouds, the starlight, even the aurora that some of you may have seen a little while back. Let the weave of the fabric of your body open. So this life energy, this spaciousness, and the freedom it brings can flow in and drift out. Invite the crown of your head to soften and open. In Qigong, they say, we're a conduit of energy between earth and the sky. Can you open to sky? Breathe sky down into the body. Let the tissue and the muscles of the scalp and the forehead soften and relax down to your eyebrows. Let relaxation flow like water over your forehead and into the sockets of your eyes, relaxing the muscle tissue there. Invite all the little passages of your sinuses to open, your ear canals. The muscles of the jaw and face to relax. And let this moment flowing towards you be an important part of your practice where you relax the muscles of your face. You let go frozen rigidity because these muscles are indicators for the rest of the body. If they relax, then the shoulders can relax. That relaxation can flow down the arms into the hands and fingers. Can drift through the torso between the ribs and the vertebrae. You may not be able to relax every stiff spot, but invite a noticing awareness of where you're stiff and lightly touch it with your consciousness. I see you, I feel you. I invite you to open and relax. I understand you're trying to help me by stiffening. You've done good work, and now can you release the tension and let's invite in the flow and the space. Let's allow healing prana to drift through into the joints of the shoulders and the spine, down into the hips and the knees. Breathe for a moment into the knees and invite the water to smoothly move through the knees. To wash out stiffness and pain. Wash down the calves and the shins into the ankles and the feet. Can we hold this whole internal universe in our awareness, from the skin on our toes to the very tops of our heads? Each exhale, reminding us to let the tissue become more like water, flowing, clouds drifting. Now let's gently inhale and lengthen the spine like a plant, filling with water and nutrients from the soil, growing towards the sun, all the way up until the neck grows right out of the pot of the shoulder girdle. And then let the left ear gently come towards the left shoulder and breathe into the tissue of the right neck and shoulder. Each exhale, allowing the shoulder and the head to be heavy, gently away from each other. And perhaps the gaze turns towards the floor. And we keep the breath running smoothly into tight tissue, inviting opening and release. Stretching, expanding, and release. And then rooting the sit bones, we exhale back up long and tall. And feel into the two sides of the neck and shoulders. And notice change. Allow for consciousness to drift through the body. And then exhale through your straw and lengthen the spine again all the way to the crown. Take the right ear towards the right shoulder without lifting the right shoulder towards the ear. Release the left shoulder heavy. Breathe into any tight tissue. Let the breath run along the neck like massaging fingers. And let your gaze turn towards the floor. Fluid breath. Releasing one part of the body away from the other, allowing the stretch to be assisted by gravity. You don't have to effort much. Just breathe into the tight places. Your gaze may turn towards the floor. And we allow some time for tight tissue to unwind and release. I see you, I feel you, I recognize the hard work you've been doing. And we float the head back up. And gently nod no, feeling into the muscles of the neck. And then we gently nod yes. Feel into where there's tightness. And pause. Breathe space in between the vertebrae of the neck. And then lengthen the spine and bring your thumbs in at the base of the skull, fingers interlacing behind the head, and let the head rest back and the elbows lift and stretch the back of the neck, massaging the base of the skull gently with your thumbs. Now gently holding the head and tractioning it slightly back, lift the lower jaw above the upper jaw and stretch the neck. And release back up, long neck. Gently lift the base of the skull, keeping your eyes at the horizon. And release your hands. And let the head float like a buoy above the anchored pelvis. And let the shoulders like other buoys in the ocean, float wide apart from each other. And let the buoy of the heart lift. And let the upper body ride the ocean waves of your breath. Let's inhale our hands to our hearts and invite the space, this fluidity, to drift and float and flow in and out of our body through the practice today. Namaste. Okay. Well, I was going to invite you today for Shavasana to have your little items, either your little red still point inducers is what they're calling them, or your tennis balls in your sock. And then coming to your mat, let's step the feet outer hip distance wide and let the arms flow across the body. Still imagine that your head is an ocean buoy floating at the top of the ocean. Your spine is dangling down, or your head could be one of those bulbs of the sea kelp. And your limbs and your spine are floating down into the water and moved by the waves. Let your finger joints be loose and free, your wrists, the joints inside your hands. Let there be a spaciousness between the bones, spreading your fingers slightly, letting the fingers move through the water. Now bend your knees a little bit, and then straighten the legs and point the toes. And invite the flow up through the feet into the knees and the hips. And maybe the ocean waves get bigger and there's a little bit of a pulse. Or maybe today you'd rather they stay light and smooth and small. Feel into what your body asks for, letting the fascia stretch open. Feeling into the tissue, we build our ability to concentrate, dharana, and we come into a moving meditation, dhyana, landing our feet. Let's let the arms circle. For some of you, the elbows may be where you circle from. For some of you, you may reach the arms skyward. But try today for effortless effort, going with the flow, not forcing anything, not stiffening or overreaching or grasping, fluidly moving. Feel the movement from your feet up through the knees to the hips. It can be a gentle pulsing, because every time we pulse a joint, we invite a little of that synovial fluid to flow. Very gentle. Or if you're wanting a little more, a little deeper. Your hands could come down towards the floor in a forward fold. But again, not over efforting, listening to the messages of the body. Let's pause at the top and take the circles the other way. And maybe we explore different ranges of motion and how the different ranges bring in different movements and activate smaller muscles we may not always be conscious of when we always move at the largest range of motion. Bigger is not better. Can you play with the circle just from the shoulders? And then perhaps it's the elbows that guide the circle, or the wrists. Maybe you do want to fold from the hips and drape your fingers towards the earth. It's your choice, it's your exploration. It flows. Let your consciousness drift from point to point, recognizing, oh, thank you, muscles around the elbow. Oh, thank you, muscles inside the palms. Oh, thank you, feet and knees and hips. Let's pause, arms low, resting the shoulders. Internally rotate your arms and bring the backs of the hands together. And then externally rotate the arms, palms out, thumbs wide, lifting the heart, stretching across the wings of your collarbones. Internally rotate, cat curl the spine. Let the head release forward like a waterfall. And then open the arms, externally rotating, lifting the heart, rooting the heels. Now find a flow to this motion and feel into the movement of your shoulder blades flowing across the back ribs, lifting the back of the heart as you come into the heart opening, the skyward gazing position. Fluid breath. What tissue do you come into contact with as you move? Pause in the lifted heart. And again, lift the back of the skull as you root the tail and lift the low back rib ring. Lower tips of the shoulder blades help to lift the heart center. A fluid breath. Soft knees. Connected down into soft feet. Come back to your neutral. And allow the arms to spin and twist around the body. Remember, if you have osteoporosis, you may let the arms move and not twist as far with the spine. If you have a spinal injury as well, we twist in a way that's comfortable for the body, not forced, fluid and easeful. Releasing the arms out of the shoulder girdle. Feel for space in the shoulder joints. Feel for space around the collar and in the neck. Notice your mind. Can it drift along through the practice? Its sole purpose to be conscious and awake, to recognize, to offer awareness and love. Let's invite the front hand to tap the lung, back hand to tap the kidney, knocking on the door of life. This life, this moment, these obstacles, this path, fluid breath and energy. Ooh, here come Izzy's friends. And let the arms swing and release. Hands relaxed as you can let them be. And come back to stillness. Feel for some energy flowing through your body. Three-dimensional breath. Now bringing your hands to your hips, let's circle the hips. And it might be best for the knees to step the feet a little wider. Feel into what works best in the joints of the knees for you. As you circle the hips, And take the hips the other way. Notice how the knees move over the feet. And if there is pain or stiffness there, can you let your body know, I see you, I feel you, I'm aware, I want you to be comfortable. And then let the hands come forward and figure eight the hips and figure eight the arms. And let the figure eights reach skyward if that's comfortable to you. And draw your infinity symbol on the sky. And notice how your whole body can be involved in the movement. Even if your toes are relaxed onto the earth, they're part of this energy flow. And then let the arms still and open into your cactus position. Spread the hands wide. Fist the hands and bring the pinkies together. Cat curl the spine, bending the knees. And inhale, open. Palms out, stretch across the heart. And exhale. And inhale. And again, we pulse the joints of the body lightly. Fluid breath. And we let the tailbone and the pelvis release down and extend through the head and flow, opening the whole myofascial web. Let's pause open, heart lifted, palms out, elbows reaching away from each other. Release the back of the collar, lift the base of the skull, root the tail, lift the low rib ring. Let the shoulder blades lift the heart and stretch the front chest. And exhale. Release your arms to your sides. Wrapping your fingers around your thumbs, circle your hands forward. Circle them forward at the wrist, really circling the wrist. Circle the hands higher. And then circle the other way and circle them wide. Feel how you can stretch the myofascia of the forearms. Circle the other way and circle up again. And circle the other way and circle wide. And pause when your arms are parallel. And turn the palms out and stretch the fingers and inhale, look out over your left hand. And exhale across to the right and inhale, stretching your palms, look out over the right hand. And exhale, release your wings. And circle a shoulder and then the other. And feel how these myofascial warm-ups can create space in the body for us to align our joints well in the yoga practice. Reach the elbows back and long. I should say the yoga asana practice, because we're doing yoga this whole time. Your concentration, your moving meditation, your pranayama. Reach the hands. If you are practicing not moving into your fullest range of motion, which pinches in the joints, you're practicing ahimsa, nonviolence. We're practicing svadhyaya, self-study, all yoga. Now, let the head of your arm bone relax into the shoulder joint and feel for fluid motion there. Even if that means your hands come lower, feel for the head of the arm bone revolving smoothly inside the joint, not pinching the capsule. Find that place where the smooth motion can happen. Explore. Bend elbows, straight arms, low hands, high hands. Your choice. Your exploration. Going with the flow your body feels today. And then let your arms come down and your hands come gently to your knees. And capping your knees, if it's okay, circle them gently. Breathe into the low back as you circle the knees. And imagine that fluid, that water rolling through the knee joints, and take the knees the other way. Fluid breath. These joints of our body are so important, but how often do we give them loving attention? Now rest in your Utkatasana with the knees bent and bring your hands up to your quads and just run your hands down the quad towards your knee. Notice if you run into tension, that inner quad, the vastus medialis, in the mid quad or the outer quad. Running the hands down to the knees. And then see, can you bend a little farther and bring your hands down to your calves in back and massage down towards your ankles and back up towards the backs of your knees and bring your fingers right behind the knees into the tissue of the knees, massaging. And then down the outer shin. You may want to use knuckles to run along the outer tissue here because you're getting into fascial bands. Maybe even towards the front of the shins. And then when it doesn't feel good on knuckles, come back to using your hands all the way around the lower leg, back up to the kneecap. Just massage around the kneecap. Bring heat and consciousness into the knees. And lift back up to mountain pose. And pause. Let your head rest back. Lean into that wall behind you. Fluid breath. Let sky flow in from the crown and earth flow in through your feet. Life energy flow in from every side of you. Feel for the prana pulsing. Now stand strong on your right leg and point your left toe out to the side. And then lift the left foot and point and flex. Point and flex. You can use a wall if you need to. And circle the ankle. Getting into each joint today, circle the other way. Circle so that you spread your toes and you point your toes, so you're stretching the fascia of the feet. And release. Coming firmly onto the left foot, take the right toe out and flex and point. And when you flex, try to spread the toes and point. Bring the toes together. Opening the whole fascial web. Circle the foot. You can do this sitting too if that's better for you. Fluid breath. And release. Pause again in your mountain. Feel into both feet firm on the floor and lift your left toe. And circle the knee in and around, opening the hip. And step down. Try the other side. Circling in and around. Inviting fluidity into the hip joint. And then let's step our feet wide. Turning the left foot out, take your right heel back. For most of us, it's heel to heel alignment. Some may have the back foot a little farther toward the front edge of the mat. And exhale. Let the front knee bend forward, Virabhadrasana 2. And turn the palms up and inhale. And exhale. And opening your heart and gaze up to the sky. Draw sky in. Visualize those streaming white summer clouds, that blue sky and sunlight flowing through you. Drifting in and drifting out. And bring the left hand to your femur, right arm beside your ear, and exhale, heart towards earth, and inhale, heart towards the heavens. And again, invite in the space of sky so that the fluid motion of the bones revolving one atop the other can move more easily. The fascia that holds us all together can become more elastic. And inhaling up, lift the heart. Stretch your arm back behind you. Spread your fingers. Fist your hand and spread the fingers. Feel your toes press into the floor and open. Press in and open. In and open. Be careful with external rotation if you know. Yeah, okay. And if you'd like to, you can come farther to your forearm. Reach the arm over and rainbow the right side body over the left. Breathing up into the right side body. Lift it like the rainbow is rising in the sky. Fluid breath, stretching from the outer edge of your right foot through the right fingertips. Stretch each color of the rainbow in your torso. But relax the shoulders away from the skull. And exhaling, activate your core and stability so that you can float up into your dancing warrior. Let your bones drift into position. Let there be a spaciousness inside of them. Imagine that your body is a windsock. Let there be space inside. Straightening the front leg, hinge forward into your high trikonasana. Spread from fingers to fingers. Stretch your hands open and fist them, and stretch them and fist them and stretch them. Feel from your rooting hips down through the stable knees to the feet and float back up and turn the left leg in, right leg out. Take the left heel back and open, star pose. Bending the knee, Vira 2. Inhaling, the palms lift up, and exhaling, we draw in sky. Let your hands drift. Imagine your arms lightly float like seeds on the breeze. Let really light, airy visualizations help you create space in the body. And here, check in with your knees. If it feels like too much to have the right knee bent, then straighten it. If the rotations don't feel good, remember the front leg can be turned forward. And bring your right hand to your femur, left arm alongside the ear, and stretch the heart open. Stretch the side body open on high, and then turn the heart towards earth and feel the motion as you are on high. When we always go into the pose the exact same way, our body gets habituated to stretching those particular tissues in that particular pattern. If we come out of the pattern, we give more tissue a chance to open. And then we may come lower and rainbow the top arm over the body and inhale a lift to the top color of the rainbow. Create thick colors through the rainbow by breathing in and widening the rainbow. Let the rainbow extend from the outer edge of your left foot through your left fingers. And then use the power of your exhale to lift the pelvic floor, activate the spine towards stability, and float back into your dancing warrior, letting the collar float away from the head, letting the head lift away from the collar. Can the hands be relaxed and open? Feel into the muscles of your face and your eyes and your jaw. What emotions would you like to elicit through arranging the muscles of your face? exhale, straightening the front leg. We hinge into our high trikonasana and pause. And open the hands, stretching each finger, and fist the hands, and stretch and fist and stretch, and invite the prana and the lymph and the circulation of blood to move through the hands and float back up and turn the right leg in and step the feet together and pause in mountain pose. Fluid breath. Draw a circle with your nose. Start small, the size of a quarter. Let it get slowly larger. And really let your concentration come into the muscles and fascial tissue of the neck and shoulder. Wherever you feel stiffness, you can pause and breathe. Smooth and fluid motions. You may move from small to large, back to medium. And then take your circles the other way. Fluid breath. Let the tissue know, oh, I see you, I feel you. I'm going to pause here because I can tell you need the stretch. And breathe. Listen to your own body. Respond to it. Go with the flow of what you're learning inside your own inner landscape. Oh, my shoulders feel much more open after yesterday's class. Even though I did weightlifting yesterday. Okay, come back to center and inhale. Close the eyes on the front of your head. Open the eyes on the back of your head and turn to look out over one shoulder. Keep looking out over the back body. And then slowly turn your head the other way. Really see what's behind you. This helps us line our head back up over our torso. Turn back to neutral. Now gently open the eyes on the front of your head, but continue to rest back. You can try to see out the front head and the back head at the same time as you walk to your wall. Still seeing what's behind you, see what's in front of you so you don't trip on anything. And lift your fingers up the wall, step your feet wide, and exhale. Lengthen the spine as you lower your hips. Breathe, space between each vertebrae. Widen the hands if you need to find space in the shoulders. Lift onto the balls of the feet again, and again, lower the pelvis. Breathe, sky between the vertebrae. And then let your hands come down the wall. Bring them down to navel height today, so not as high as the rim of your shoulders. And coming into a standing cobra, open your feet and root the four corners. Soften the knees, root the tailbone, and inhale. Lengthen the spine straight skyward. Let the shoulders release away from the lifting head. Now broaden across the collarbones, keeping your low rib ring where it is. And open above the low rib ring. Open above it. Yes, the front rib ring may lift a little, but really try to stretch open the upper ribs, lifting the heart. Imagine there's a buoy at the heart, lifting you towards the top of the ocean. Lengthen the back of the neck. Draw down with the hands. Release the back of the collar. Lift the back of the skull. And exhale. Come back to standing. Turn sideways on the wall with your hands and robot arms and press the arm on the wall into the wall and feel how the opposite foot activates. These are your myofascial slings from one side of the body to the other. Lift your toes, lift your arches. Relax your toes. Now activate the leg closest to the wall and imagine there's a wall against the arm where there isn't a wall. And press into the imaginary wall and the foot by the wall, as well as the arm on the wall and the foot away from the wall. And feel your myofascial slings. Now, as you activate these slings, lengthen the spine right up through the center of them. Breathe space into the body. Make sure you don't lock your knees. And release. And roll both shoulders. And turn the other way. Bring the other arm against the wall. Press the arm on the wall into the wall so that whole L of the arm is against the wall, especially shoulder and elbow. And then feel the other side body activate from the buttock through the foot. Feel into that sling. Open from heel to shoulder, pressing into the wall. Create a long line there. So you may lengthen and grow a little taller. Now press into the foot closest to the wall. Press into the imaginary wall on the other side. Create space inside the torso as you press the walls apart and root into your feet. Breathe up the center channel, into the heart, into the lifting head, and open the crown. A conduit of active energy between earth and sky. Release your back to the wall, fingernails against the wall. Some of you may be able to walk your heels back into the wall. Pressing the hands back, lift the heart. Lengthen the whole spine. Lift the gaze slightly and let yourself float off the wall. Stretch the torso open. Breathe into the fabric of your body. Invite energy flow through even as you activate the banks of your river and root from outer hip to outer heel. Fluid breath. Release the back of your collar. Really lengthen the back of the neck. And release. Step back towards the center of the room and bring your chair back in to face you. Bring your blocks in. Now, some of you may prefer to use a higher piece of furniture or a wall, especially if you're taller or you have scoliosis. We're coming into Parsvottanasana, so it's that wide-legged forward stretch with a straight front leg, as long as your hamstrings accept the straightness. So both hips are forward. This shouldn't hurt people who are avoiding external rotation. And rest down into your feet. Spread the feet open and inhale. Reach the arms skyward. Rooting from the outer hips to the outer heels. Exhale your hands towards the wall or your piece of furniture. And either step back or press the chair forward. Draw the front leg hip crease back and breathe into the pelvis. Rooting the four corners of the back foot, make sure you don't collapse into the inner arch of the back foot, collapsing the inner knee. Take both femur bones back in your hip sockets. This is really good practice for aligning the hips. Check in with the back knee that you're not hyperextending. Actually, both knees could be hyperextendable. Make sure you're not sagging the belly towards earth. Reach the tailbone long, open the crown. Can you open space around the neck? Some of you may want to walk your hands a little lower down to blocks. You can always take the blocks wider or your hands wider on the wall or furniture. Fluid breath. We pause in a stretch for a little while to allow for the tissue to open. Good. Long spines, we want to hinge from the hip. Make sure you're not cat curling at the spine. You may want to come up a little higher if you feel like you're cat curling. No hinge in the upper thoracic spine. Really feel into your own bodies. Good. And then as you're ready, root the feet and exhale, rise towards the sky. You can walk your hands up your chair, beautiful Sarah, and float up. Step your hands together and release. Take the next foot forward and rock step. We're working to open the whole body today. Joy's request. Let your feet land and inhale. Find that length. For some of you, it may be opening the arms wide and lifting the heart. For some of you, it may be stretching along the side bodies and lifting through the fingers and then hinging forward and pressing the furniture or stepping back. Draw the front leg hip crease back. Check in with the four corners of both feet. Beautiful length, Dory. Beautiful length, Susie, Debbie, Sarah. These look really good, all of them. So don't go too low too fast, okay? Make sure the hinge is coming from the hips, or you're really just hinging the spine in a way we do too often in our lives. So try to work on that length of the spine, activating energy in through the pelvic floor, in through the front of the navel. Keep the spine long. Yes. Fluid breath, even if it means coming up a little higher onto fingertips. Reach out through the crown chakra. Lengthen the neck out of the shoulder girdle. And then as you're ready, if you want to go lower, you can go a little lower first. Some of you already did. And then when you're ready, exhale, float back up. Really beautiful hip alignment. All of you. And step your feet together and release your arms. Fluid breath. Okay, let's bring the chair in and bring the blocks in front, opening the legs. And let's begin with side stretching here again, lifting your right arm alongside your ear. Lift and lengthen both side bodies, pressing down into the left hand. Turn the heart open towards the sky and broaden across your collarbones like you're twisting to the right. And then gently twist to the left and reach from the right sit bone through the fingernails or through the shoulder. Now come back to neutral, and some of you may come to the forearm and do this again, opening across the collar, lifting the heart, or turning the heart towards the earth and stretching from sit bone to fingers. You may want to stay here. You may want to undulate the spine. Again, rooting into the forearm and stretching across the shoulder girdle. You may release the right arm over in the rainbow. Breathe into the right side body. And exhale back to sitting, right hand to the femur, left arm alongside the ear. Stay high at first. Find the stretch in this high position. Lowering heart towards earth. Stretching the back side. Feel even in under the shoulder blade. And then broaden across the collarbones. Twist to the left. Open the heart left. Stretch. Breathe. Coming back to neutral. Maybe you come lower and you do it again. Exploring as you move the body. Pausing. Letting tissue know, I see you, I feel you, I'm inviting flow. I'm drifting through these moments to become more conscious. Rainbow, the left side body, breathe into it. This center fascia, if it becomes really tight and stiff, has a big effect on our limbs. So we spend some time opening the center. And exhale, use your exhale to activate the core to come back up. Okay, now let's go ahead and fold forward here, since we already have our blocks there. Inhale, lengthen the spine and hinge again from the hips. Hands to the blocks. Inhale, a lift to the heart. Stretch open the front line of the body. Take the chin forward. Jut the chin, the low jaw forward of the upper jaw. Find a stretch in this base of the chin and neck. We want energy flow through the thyroid glands, through the front of the neck, down into the thalamus, down into the tissue that connects skull to rib cage. And then release. Cat curl the spine. Release the head. Release the base of the skull away from the shoulders. Breathe into the back ribs. This is a safer place to explore the flexion of the spine because you don't have gravity pulling vertebrae into vertebrae. Come long and bring your blocks forward into a wide-legged downward dog. Even the arms can come wider. As you bow through the knees, make sure the knees aren't following you in. The knees stay aligned over the second metatarsals. Fluid breath. Massage the tissue open from the inside. Perhaps you sway the body side to side, inviting opening, inviting freedom. We continue to roll on down the river. Stepping the blocks back in. Place the blocks underneath your face and float your left wing open. Activate the left shoulder blade on the back, keeping the knees and feet firm. Lift the left wing just as high as is right in your body. Release the collar away from the skull and take deep breaths into the tissue. And exhale. Release the lifted wing and float the right wing open, right shoulder blade on your back. Rooting from the hips into the feet, lift and open the right wing. From the heart, expand through both wings. Fluid breath. Nice head and neck alignment. Looks good, John. Fluid breath. Looks good, Susie. Beautiful, Karen. And release the lifted arm and float yourself back up to sitting. Let's move the blocks out of the way and step the feet in. Bring your hands back down to the knees and just above the knees and massage the tissue there. Just massaging. Hello, knee joints. Sometimes the knees get pulled a little, the kneecaps get pulled a little askew because we don't have strength in the vastus medialis, this inner quad. So let's just do a couple exercises that make us more conscious of that. Sit up nice and tall and float your left foot up with a pointed toe, straightening the leg fully. And then tap the toe back down. Turn the foot out slightly. So that's a little external rotation you may decide to avoid. It doesn't have to be much if that feels okay. And lift the foot again in slight turnout and come down. Now, some of you may turn out just a little bit more than that. We're really trying to get in. You can feel this inner quad if you palpate it with your fingers. If you don't straighten the last 20%, you don't activate that inner quad. If that inner quad isn't as strong as the other quads, the knee can get pulled a little out of alignment. So just massage that tissue of the inner quad while you've got the leg lifted. And release. Massage both knees. And then as you're ready, with the foot straight ahead, lift. Can feel into the quad. Release the toe, slight turn out, and lift and hold. Can massage that quad, the muscles around the knee. And then lower and maybe turn out slightly more and lift. Now really come into that tissue. above the knee. Just massage there. Get blood flow into that joint, energy flow, and release. Take your hands around to the back side of your quads and our hamstrings and dig your fingers into the back of the hamstrings a little bit. Dig into the back. So if you're doing this exercise of lifting the leg, you want to lift and hold. You don't just want to kick open. Lift and hold and then release. So dig into the back hamstrings a little bit with your fingers, the back tissue of the knees. Good. And then let's take the knees around to the right and inhale, hands to the heart. And exhale, slowly begin to twist to the left. Today, let's begin with the eyes. Let the eyes guide you, and then the neck, and then the shoulder girdle, and then the thoracic spine and the lumbar spine. Take the right hand across the left knee and open the left arm, guided by the head of the arm bone and the shoulder blade. Now breathe into the twist and invite the tissue to open. Can the breath drift through you? Can it massage the obstacles? Can it create more fluidity inside the body? Remember, as we twist, we also put different pressure on the organs. It's press and release. And so when we exhale and bring the hands back around, we've invited fluid to kind of press through the organ tissue. Take the knees around to the other side and inhale, length to the spine. And exhale, let the head guide you into the twist, neck following, shoulders, then upper spine, then lower spine. Back of the left hand against the knee, right arm opens back. Oh, can you breathe a lifting buoy at the heart? Can you relax into the twist on the exhales? You can even look out the right corners of the eyes to stretch the muscles inside the eyes and skull. You can rest your hyoid bone back and lift the base of the skull. And you can fine-tune the pose gently, exploring your body, letting your consciousness drift like a cloud, gaining awareness of this inner landscape. And then we exhale and release. And come back to sitting forward with our hands in our laps, resting. Now breathe deep into your heart center. Breathe earth energy up, and sky energy down, and life energy in from all around you, right into your expanding heart. Cultivating the prana. And then visualize the parts of your body you would like this energy to move to. For some of us, it might be the knees, or a healing hip joint, or the feet, the spine. Fluid breath, wherever it is for you. Invite the energy. Okay, let's bring our bolster onto the chair next. And if you have a yoga strap, let's try bringing that in today. We can play with it. Some of you may like it, some of you may not. So you'll just have it as an option. Bring the yoga strap across your lap as you lean back into your bolster. Feel your sit bones beneath you and inhale length to the spine. And inhale a lift to the arms and let them come wide on the strap in a Y, releasing the head of the arm bones down into the joint. Let the arms open as far as is comfortable behind you. And pause. And just invite the breath to drift into the tight tissue, to expand it, to relax it. If this doesn't feel good with the arms, let the arms fall gently out to your sides without strap. A fluid breath. Long neck. And exhale. Release the strap down across your lap. Let it dangle there for a moment and just let your arms fall wide around the bolster. Fluid breath. Invite the breath to rise up under the heart center and stretch open the front chest. On the exhales, release the head of the arm bones back and down and around the bolster. And then reach your hands back up for the strap. And inhale. Take the strap back up overhead. Let the arms rest back and open. Breathe into the heart center. Those of you who are rib flares, you may lengthen along the bolster again. Breathe space between the vertebrae. Stay a little stronger in your square. Oh, breathe into the upper chest and shoulders. I see you, I feel you. I invite in flow as I release the strap and release the arms to float by the sides of the bolster. Breathe a lift to the center heart and allow the traction of the arms to stretch that front chest open. And exhale, float back up to sitting. Release the strap. And pause here with your breath. Let the head float like an ocean buoy above the hips. Lift your right leg over your left and gently massage the tissue around the knee joint. You can stay upright here, massaging, or you can take your navel first, lifting from pubic bone to navel. Reach your navel up towards the femur and lean forward. Now, for some of you, you may not have the hip opening to find that. You can draw the bolster back around across your crossed legs and lean into the bolster. Okay, if that's necessary, feel free to do it. Some of you will be able to fold forward enough you could actually bring your blocks in and have them beside your legs, putting pressure on the intestines, the abdominal organs, breathing into these inner contents, inviting movement inside the abdomen, movement inside the groins. So we're creating pressure. We're kind of cutting off the flow in the groins, and then we exhale and release. And we cross the legs the other way. Inhale, lengthen the spine, head's the ocean buoy floating on the high wave. And then exhale, tilt forward from the hips. Hands can come down towards the blocks. Some of you may be able to take the blocks lower. So don't force low. Keep length in the spine. Feel for gentle pressure in the abdomen and breathe into it. Allowing for close off at the lymph system in the groins. And then when we lift up, there's a surge of lymph that flows through. It's like the spring runoff in the Yuba when they unleash the dam. Then exhale and unhinge and come back up to sitting. Now, some of you will be able to just lean forward right here and come into a forward fold if you're not doing external rotation. Some can bring your right ankle up onto your left femur and open the right knee in a figure four and inhale, lift the spine. Flex the right foot and hinge forward. Inhale into the tissue of the hip. You can always come back into the cross-legged position. If you felt good hip tissue stretch there, it's perfectly fine to stay there. Now notice if you have this tendency, and it may feel good, let's all do it. Let's shorten the back of the neck, take the chin forward, jut the lower jaw forward, and stretch the front neck. And then release the jaw back, lengthen the back of the neck, reach long from the base of the skull, shoulder blades on your back, and see if you can hinge a little farther. Fluid breath. Don't hinge to the point where the body grips back. If your body says, nope, no farther, then go no farther. In fact, everyone should play with lifting out of their stretch a little bit, breathing into the tissue, relaxing it, moving back into the stretch. Deep and fluid breath. The breath can fill the abdomen and continue, excuse me, to pump the lymph, to move the diaphragm, move the kidneys. Exhale, release back up, and switch to the other leg. Now, if you're folding just forward over your legs, you may sit back up and bring the bolster in so that you can get good pressure on your abdominals and your intestines. Really healthy work, as long as you didn't eat 10 pancakes for breakfast. Inhale. Fluid breath, long spine through your crown. Hinging forward as your body's ready. Beautiful line, Susie. Sherry. Beautiful. Some of you I can't see as well. Nice length, Debbie. Can you stay open across your collarbones and breathe into the whole circumference of the torso? Invite relaxation with the flow of the exhale. It's like you're moistening the soil of the hips. Make sure this isn't putting too much pressure on the knees. And exhale. Float back up and release. Okay, let's come up off the chair and take the chair seat to the end of the mat. Place your hands on the seat of the chair for a moment and inhale. Lift your heart, lift your crown, lift your tailbone. And exhale, come into the hissing cat. And just roll fluidly through your cow and cat for a few moments. Oh, really finding the opening of your lumbar spine. It may mean taking your pelvis back behind you to stretch that fascia, bending the knees, lowering the hips. You may want to sway one hip farther behind you and then the other, pulsating the low back, inviting opening in the tissue along the spine, in the shoulders, the armpits. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. You may float forward and lift into your cow, lifting your sit bones, lengthening the back of the neck. And then even here, you may take your pelvis back, flowing into more opening in the hips. And flow forward. Rooting into your hands on the chair and your right foot. Your right foot. Release your right hand off the chair and step the left foot skyward. Inhale, float the right arm up, right shoulder blade on your back. Now you can pause here in this cross-body balance work, or you can really buoy the left hip and float the right arm skyward in a twisted Ardha Chandrasana. Half moon pose, yes. You're twisting towards your standing leg, beautiful. Keep the lifted leg hip buoyed. Yes, and exhale, release your wing and your foot. And as you're ready, float the right leg up, the left arm up. Join the humerus bone into its joint well, your femur bone of your leg into the hip. Keep that right hip buoyed if you choose to lift the left arm. Beautiful. Remember, you're guiding with that lifting shoulder. Beautiful hip alignment, Karen. Really nice, Sarah. Beautiful job, Debbie. Yes, you're all keeping that lift, every one of you. Beautiful. And exhale, release your wing, release your lifted leg. Inhale your cow. And exhale your cat. And flow. Yeah, beautiful flowing, Debbie. Sarah. Oh, so nice to watch. Release your buttocks back in neutral and inhale your hands to your heart, Utkatasana. And pause in this fierce pose for a few breaths. Invite wide open feet. And from the lifting arches, feel into stable knees. Fluid breath. Release your arms and inhale. Reach them for the sky. Press your palms up like you're holding up the sky. Root your feet into the earth and invite earth energy in through the palms of your hands and feet. Invite sky energy in. And exhale. Hands to the heart. Mountain pose. Pause for a moment in standing meditation, feeling for the flow of prana in your body. And then we'll come to the floor. So I'm going to invite the same restorative we did yesterday in class, if you like that one. Some of you will need a block at the end of your mat if you're tall. John, you may need a few for under your pelvis. And if this doesn't feel good, a long blanket roll would work. In fact, I'll show that one. So, so one option is here if you're short enough, okay? One option is here. With your pelvis on the block or the bolster and your head on your pillow and your calves up on your chair. The other option that is the same kind of work would be the bolster under your pelvis and a long blanket roll. Let's see how that feels. I'm testing it for you, thinking of different options for everyone. So if you know you want the bolster, you can go ahead and come into it. But if you want to see this other option, you can do that too. So I'd have still my pillow and my eye pillow close by. And I would lift my legs onto my chair before I brought the bolster in, lying on the long blanket roll, my spine. I'd lift the bolster up under my pelvis. Oh, yeah, that's nice. And then the blanket roll is just under your spine. It's not as high a lift and it can be longer. And then your shoulders just rest to either side of the blanket roll. You can have a pillow and an eye pillow. So either of those will be a nice restorative heart opener. So as you're ready, and most of you are already there, good. And if your legs are long enough, you don't even have to have the bolster under your hips. The beauty of the bolster under your hips is that it allows blood flow to continue once it comes down to your pelvis on a diagonal towards your heart. But you can also have your legs, if you have longer femur bones, just on the chair seat and your pelvis on like a low folded blanket, or even just on the blanket roll itself. And then we rest, wings open, heart skyward. Imagine your feet are at the top of a tall mountain. They're floating in the clouds. Your toes are the snowpack. And the mountaintops collect rain and the water flows down through the arches of your feet, through the mountain aquifers in your legs, down into the joints of your knees, where this fresh spring water flows through the joints. Healing energy. Pause there, feeling the water circulate through the joints of the knees. And then flow down the femur bones, down the quads and the hamstrings, into the pelvis. And there is another bowl or mountain lake filled with the fresh water. And that mountain lake spills over in the springtime, and the energy flows down through the torso, through the abdomen and the organs and the intestines. And let the intestines release. So if your hips are a little higher than your heart, this release of the intestines can release backup and congestion in the intestines. So really try to relax the belly. Relax the low back, the hips. Feel for the movement of the diaphragm. And visualize this spring water flowing now down into the heart center, to the well of the heart. And out the aquifers of the arms, into the little rivulets of the fingers. and down from the heart through the neck into the head. And then let the water flow out the crown. And as the water flows through the head and face, relax the jaw, the muscles of the face and eyes, the forehead. Feel for a continuous flow of prana through the feet, all the way out the crown. Invite this prana to cleanse and nourish you. Gently draw energy back into the fingers and the toes. See if you can spend a few breaths relaxing a little more deeply along the spine and in the rib cage. Through the shoulder girdle, the neck, and the face. And then float the arms skyward. Stretch the hands and then shake them. Shake the hands and the arms. Shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them, shake them. Remember that this shaking allows us to release hypertonic muscles that feel like they have to always be turned on. Let the arms shake down through the elbows to the shoulders. And then step your feet in. Maybe draw your knees in and circle them a few times, letting your hands massage the joints of the knees. And if you'd like to, even in this position, if you can balance, open into your half happy baby and massage the backs of the knees. The hamstrings, the calves, whatever feels good. Just acknowledging the body. And then release your feet down. If your hips are on the bolster, you may need to put them on the chair to release it out from under you. Support yourself as you roll off your bolster and come up to your comfortable seat. Let yourself rest onto your sit bones and into your breath. And inhale your hands to your heart. May we learn to drift like clouds and float like water, floating forward into each new moment. Namaste. And thank you for your practice.